Oh, sometimes I can do without the air, but right now, uh, I'm having a hard time breathing, so I got to use yeah, the oxygen. Mm. You know, I've only got one complete lung, the left one. My right lung is about half capacity or less. Uh, from bronchitis turned pneumonia. Wrong diagnosis at Cooper Green, man. They almost killed me. One doctor came in, the first doctor came in after they x-rayed us, my wife was sitting there. Been there for about 12 hours, nothing was done. Finally, they x-rayed me. Yeah. For a stupid doctor came in there. Said that, see this right here in your lung? Man, that's cancer. You're effed up, buddy. You ain't got long to live. I'll give you 2 days, man. Of course, it freaked out me and my wife. So the other doctor came in. We were in there crying. And it's this young doctor that was brilliant. He came in there, looked at the x-rays. He said, what did Dr. Turley just say to you? He said, I had cancer and was dying. He said, that son of a bitch is going to lose his job if that's the last thing I do today. You ain't got cancer. You got an empyema infection, which is fixable, and I'm going to fix you. So don't worry about it. Cheer up. We're going to admit you, and then I'm going to do a little procedure on you to get rid of that pus out of your lung. Well, that was in like June. And I was in the hospital there for a little while, for a couple of weeks or so, and then they let me out. And after they drained I thought I was going to be okay, but when I got home, I was home for a couple of days, and everything I saw, like Jack's Hamburger sign, it didn't say that. It was white. It was whited out. I wasn't getting enough oxygen. And any other sign was whited out. I was, and then when I went home and I coughed, pus was coming out my right side. So I went back. I developed another fever, Cooper Green, and I was in a room, and all the doctors that were seeing me before, they all came in there and looked at me, didn't say a word. They just frowned and looked at me, and I was laying there saying, well, do something, goddammit, do something. You know, don't just stand there with your thumb up your ass. You know, hook me with some antibiotics now. And they said, well, we have to do a culture, and that's going to take. And I said, it's the same thing as last week. Now, come on. You know it's what it is, so go get with the program. Let's go, come on. Screw with jumping through hoops at this time. Shoot me up with some antibiotic intravenously like you were doing before. The strong stuff. So they started doing that. And then I said, all right, now with the pain medication, let's go. So they hooked me up with some Demerol. I was feeling better, but I was really deathly sick. Finally, they were going to do some kind of procedure in the emergency room. I came to, and the nurse sitting there, I said, give me some Dilaudid or something. She said, I can't give you that. You got emphysema. And I said, no, I don't. It's empyema, infection. She said, no, you've got emphysema. I said, no, I don't. You're misspelling it. And she started screaming at me, you've got emphysema. And I said, get the doctor down here. All right, I'll give you your damn pain medication, So I started feeling better. Nurse didn't know what she was talking about. But anyway, Dr. Phil Johnson was my doctor, and he didn't have enough confidence in himself to perform the thoracotomy. And anyway, so he came up to my room and he told me, he said, I'm going to send you to UAB. I can't fix you. So I'm going to send you to UAB into the care of Dr. Joseph Cifolio. He's going to fix you, Terry. He's going to fix you. Turned out that Dr. Phil Johnson was a Black Oak fan, and he liked me a lot, and he wanted me to live. And so they sent me over to UAB by ambulance that night, and in the morning, they prepped me for surgery, and went in there, and they knocked my ass out. And when I woke up, I was hurting. They took out my right lower lobe, and I was in my room in recovery, and then they took me to my room. My wife was waiting on me, and they said that, well, you ought to be able to do okay. And, everything was like, nothing tasted right, nothing smelled right. I could smell some shit on a penny a mile down the road. That's how strong your senses get, when you're that sick. Well, anyway, they tried to send me home, and they didn't even send me home with any antibiotic. They should have sent me home with some Levaquin, but they didn't. Then they sent me home, and I got sick again. Pus coming out my side. They don't sew those up after they put those tubes in your chest. They don't sew them up. They just cover them with something. Anyway, I just pus was coming out, so I started getting a fever again. So Gwen took me back to the emergency room at UAB, and went in the emergency room, and one of the doctors that worked for Dr. Joseph Cifolio were real brilliant doctors, young doctors. I said, what's this? And I coughed, and that pus came out the side of me again. And so he said, Mr. Powers, I'm going to have to admit you back into the hospital. You're sick. So they put me back in, and they had to go into another thoracotomy. When they cut me, a thoracotomy is when they cut along your rib line and go in there and cut through your rib and get to your lung. They prise open that hole and pull your lung out and work on it. Well, they had to go in and remove half my middle lobe. You got a middle lobe, then the upper lobe up here. So anyway, they took out the rest of the rotten lung and stitched me up, and it started to get pus on it. I just kept getting sick. So what they did to stop it from spreading again, they cut me open and packed me full of charcoal foam. And what that does is absorb infection. So it absorbed all the infection being made that was forming, and they increased my dose. There's stuff called Tymotin or something like that, and Rocephin and stuff was not strong enough. They had me anyway. Finally, the charcoal foam put a stop to it. So I had to have a procedure in the emergency room where they had to go in, cut me back open, and take that charcoal foam out. And I imagine it was nasty. I imagine it was real bad. So they took it out. And then I was praying really hard. Really hard. I was saying, God, through Jesus' name, please heal me. I've got a lot of stuff I need to do. I don't want to go yet right now. I need things. There's things I know I need to do before I go home to my heavenly mansion. And anyway, all of a sudden I started feeling this warmth all over my body, and it was like he was talking to me, not in words, in telepathy. And he was actually telling me that I was going to be okay, that he had it under control. And I felt better. All of a sudden I started feeling better. The warmth through my body was like Jesus telling me that I was going to be okay, that this is it. You're going to go home in a few days, Terry. Well, sure enough, it worked. And a few days later, I was okay. And they did blood work and everything's rosy, and no signs of infection. So they sent me home. And I was like walking up and down stairs, I could walk down the hall at a good pace. And I wanted to go home so bad. Finally, they came in there and said, I'm going to let you go home tomorrow morning. And I went, oh, man, wow. I went in the hospital at June of something. It was the 1st of June, and then I didn't completely get out of the hospital until right before Halloween. I remember 4th of July, I remember I spent my birthday in the hospital, September the 12th. My son's birthday was September the 6th. He came up to see me on his birthday. And my wife and Lynn, her twin, my sister-in-law, and came to see me on my birthday. And my sister Susan Parker and her husband Ray, and Preston, her son Preston, and my dad, my poor drunken father, God rest his soul. He had a drinking problem. It was bad. But anyway, I finally got to come home, and things were strange. I'd been on so much pain medication that I felt funny. I felt strange. it was when I came home, a song came on the TV. It was a song by Simon and Garfunkel. Um, um, it was I forgot, but it was a Scarborough Fair. That's what I heard when I came home from the hospital, and it just absorbed me, and I went into it deep, and it was really strange because of the way I was mesmerized by that song. Well, Gwen took me to Walmart and pushed me around in a wheelchair back then, and we went to the CD department, and I bought the album with Scarborough Fair on it, and I came home and wore that CD out, man. I just constantly played that song and everything. So that's the story. Then 4 years later, I had a triple bypass. And it was like a year later or 2 years later, I had another thoracotomy on my left side to fix my herniated esophagus. Man, I'd had so many surgeries. They had to go through my left side, push my heart, my lung to the side to get down in there and cut that bulb like this off my esophagus and then stitch it up. It actually, on the x-ray thing, it all actually looked like a bubble of bubble gum somebody blew. It was coming out of their mouth about that big around. And it was strange, when I saw it. Well, anyway, after they cut that out, stitched me up, what they do, they put you, they use super glue for that big incision. It's like this in your back. It goes along the curvature of your rib cage. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell. So I haven't been in the hospital since that. Well, I have been in. Things gone wrong with heart stuff, having to be monitored, and going in for my breathing stuff, and going in because of this. And yeah, I hate going into the hospital. A good day is when they say you get to go home. They're going to give you your papers so you can go home, and you can call somebody in your family, preferably your spouse, to come and get your ass and to go home and eat something good, drink some good ice cold fresh milk, or an ice cold diet Dr. Pepper or Coke or something. Real food, instead of that microwave plastic cover surprise. Voila! Take the lid off. There it is. Freshly microwaved for your enjoyment. I've been talking almost 20 minutes about that. Papa. Left his home Thursday.